Thank you.
So
Yeah, we got
Zoom's working though?
Yeah, Zoom's working for us.
I don't know why I'm spaced there. An EPA department through
Gotcha.
Robinson.
Okay.
I used to do that
All
for a
right.
few years.
Good evening. Call this meeting to order for the Lucerne, or the Central Region Town Hall. Oh, you can't hear me? Sorry, my iPad was in the way. I got you. All right. Thank you everybody for coming. So we've got roll call. Becky Schwinger here. Austin Pratt.
Here.
Atlas Pearson.
Here.
John Carlson.
Here.
All right. Okay, so on our consent agenda, we have the approval of the minutes of the February 10th regular meeting. Any corrections or somebody have a motion?
Move approval. I'll second to approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. All right, item number 3, discussion and possible action including acceptance of a presentation from Liberty Francis, Project Director, Tobacco Education and Prevention. Sorry.
Good evening. As Becky said, my name is Liberty Francis, and I work with the Tobacco Education and Prevention Project under Lake County Public Health. And we have recently worked with the 3 jurisdictions in our county, City of Lakeport, City of Clear Lake, and the Unincorporated Board of Supervisors, to pass a tobacco retail license. And that was in effect January 1st, 2025. And how that is different from their state tobacco retail license is this allows our local law enforcement agencies to enforce state and local law around the tobacco policies. The reason that we established this ordinance with the 3 jurisdictions is because our county is experiencing a youth vaping crisis. We have had students as young as 2nd grade using these products. Where are they getting them? That's a good question. What we do know is the last time the state did a decoy operation in Lake County was 2018. And when they did that decoy operation to check retailers in Lake County, all of those retailers failed and sold to minors. So we fast forward several years, and it's in every community in our county, the state. This crisis is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So what we would like to do is come throughout the community to share with our community members before this project launches July 1st. So currently we're building the process under our environmental health department. They will be the enforcing agency that does compliance checks with all of our tobacco retailers. So let me just give you a few statistics that we found here in Lake County. Sorry, my slides got mixed up. So when we asked our 11th grade students, how easy is it to access tobacco products in your community? 65% of them said it's very easy for us to access those products. But what's more alarming is when we went into the middle school and asked our students the same question, the number went up. So what we don't know is, did they walk into the store themselves? Did they get it from a relative? Did they steal it from the mom and dad? Or was there somebody that was older that was buying it for them? And what we've found in the schools is all of the above. So, we have close connections with our principals, our teachers, our counselors within all of the school districts, and they're begging for help. And this tobacco retail license will allow our local law enforcement to partner with us. We'll be hiring a youth decoy under the Department of Justice grant. And that youth will be between the ages of 18 and 20, which is still illegal for them to purchase those products. They have to be 21 or older. And they will go out with local law enforcement, and they will do the decoy operations locally. So that'll be done with the Sheriff's Department, City of Clear Lake, City of Lakeport. The other project that was recently, ordinance that was recently signed through the Board of Supervisors was for the unincorporated areas of Lake County. And it is a smoke-free environment policy. And that will also include any county-owned and leased properties that smoking will no longer be allowed. They will be prohibited. So that's all of our county buildings, county parks, trails, all of those properties will be smoke-free. How does that affect maybe businesses here in Lucerne or Upper Lake or maybe Spring Valley? Those properties will also have limitations on where they can smoke. Current law states 20 feet from any operable window or door or ventilation system for a business. So that will extend that. Studies show that 29 feet is the range in which someone would have to be away from you, smoking these products for you to not have adverse health risks. So the Surgeon General says that there is no safe level of secondhand smoke. And so that's why we are addressing that. We want to address that to protect our most vulnerable community members, which are our children. Okay, so part of that smoke-free environment policy, you'll be seeing new smoke-free signs at all of our parks, trailheads, especially for fire danger. One of the other projects that we did was we went out to all of the parks in Lake County, and we started with the unincorporated areas, and we started picking up tobacco product waste. So that could be cigarette butts, wrappers, vape waste, cannabis products and wrappers. Any of those types of products are considered tobacco product waste. And we mapped out a certain area, usually within the playground areas of the parks. If it wasn't a playground area, we did a beachfront, maybe if there was like docks where they were fishing, gazebo, things like that. And we collected over 6,000 pieces of tobacco product waste in 16 parks. And that was just the play areas, playground areas. And so tonight I brought with you our sheet from the Alpine Park, because that's one that is near and dear to Lucerne. And we did a 49-foot by 81-foot area of the Alpine Park, and this was considered the playground area. In that playground area, we found lots of trash, but what we collected was 161 cigarette butts and 2 wrappers. What we noticed is that a lot of people see tobacco product waste, but it has become normal for us to see it on the ground. And so what we want to do for part of this project is evaluating the areas that have high litter and pick those up. And it's all part of that smoke-free environment, because those products are all considered toxic and hazardous waste. So we all know about the cigarette butts and those filters that are left behind. A lot of people assume it's cotton, but it's not. It's actually microplastics that will photodegrade, but they never biodegrade. The other thing is any of the toxic chemicals that are inhaled through that filter are now leaching into our waterways. Our animals and our fish are eating it, and it's now becoming toxic to them as well. But the vape waste, the e-cigarette waste, we have an issue with the fact that those products are made with single-use plastics. The liquid that is in those products, the EPA has determined it is hazardous waste. And then we have lithium-ion batteries, which create a huge environmental concern. And locally here, our CNS Waste Solutions has had a transfer station fire, garbage truck fire, that they've linked to lithium batteries. So we want to spread the word to the community that the manufacturers have not put out a safe way for consumers to properly dispose of this vape waste products. It takes about $45 per pound to properly dispose of those vape products. So that is going to be a huge cost to any community that is trying to properly dispose of those e-cigarettes or vape products. So one study in California showed that the amount of vape products being sold in California, the lithium batteries are enough to build 1,400 electric car batteries. So if we look at that, these are going into our landfill. These are going into the waterways, the trash. I'm seeing them littered, thrown out the windows of cars, similar to what's been happening for decades with cigarette butts. So it's going to be a lot of education, a lot of awareness around the dangers of these products and how we can come together as a community to create change so that our environment is here to enjoy for our next generations. So if I did bring some products, some brochures on the back table about secondhand and third-hand smoke, as well as if you know anybody that's interested in quitting using tobacco products, there's some resources back there. One of the newer products on the market is our nicotine pouches, similar to Zen or Velo or things like that, and they are a synthetic nicotine that's in a little fibrous pouch. And what some of our schools are seeing is that kids are switching from vapes to the nicotine pouches because it's easier to conceal and hide. But with all of these newer products on the market, we don't know what the long-term health risk is going to look like for our young adults and teens that are using these products. So I'm here. I'll be here for the rest of the evening if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer them. I'm happy to come back and provide more resources and education to the community. It looks like on your agenda you have a event coming up for the Alpine Park, and we'd love to partner with you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Liberty? All right, well, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 4, discussion and possible action, including acceptance of a presentation from Holly Harris and Angela Amaral of the Eastern Region Town Hall Earth. Yes, please.
Yes, she is. Hi, I'm Holly Harris, and I am newly on Earth. We just had our second meeting. Angela Amaral, who was going to be here, couldn't, but I believe she's on Zoom. We actually don't have a presentation. We actually have a proposal for CERT.
Okay.
So basically, when we've worked with Supervisor Crandall for years, et cetera, and one day, a little bit ago, we were talking with him, and we talked about the idea of if we on the North Shore, meaning everybody in District 3, if the District 3 MACs could get together and form some type of alliance, we could be more powerful in what happens in the county. So basically, Supervisor Crandall suggested the D3 thing. I was actually talking about the whole county, but he suggested the D3, District 3, and I thought, that's actually a great place to start. So basically, and we're talking about an alliance that would be formal or informal. This is all open for discussion. But it would include representation from the 3 town councils, C.R.T.H, Earth, and Worth, to address issues that are important to all of us, communities, business, environment, along the North Shore. So basically, I've looked at a lot of the surveys that came back from the local area plan and the general plan things. And the North Shore has a lot of similar issues, like we deal with Highway 20, we have lake health, Caltrans, PG&E, code enforcement, tourism, economy. A number of us have paper subdivisions and erosion, et cetera. And we felt if we could unite on these broad topics, we could have more input into the county decision-making process. We would get earlier notification on projects that affect us, and there would be more weight placed on community desires. Some of the things that we could possibly achieve together, and once again, these are just off the top of the head. I'm sure it's much bigger, but with collective pressure and knowledge, we could apply for funding and grants. We would get early notification of projects, and we would have ongoing input into these projects to ensure win-win situations for the community and the business and the county. We could do creative problem solving to deal with issues like illegal dumping, code enforcement, et cetera. There may be things that you have done that we haven't even thought of where we are. We can do regional planning with large agencies like the Area Planning Council, Caltrans, PG&E. We can have more impact with them. And we could also start developing a district-based approach to expand the economy and the tourism base. I know I am on the Shoreline Area Plan, as also Austin was, and I know Austin spoke quite a bit about cultural and historical and tourism, recreation, things like that. And those are things that we totally embrace. Anyway, we brought this up at the Earth meeting on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, and overwhelming support for this, absolutely. So we decided to contact you to come and ask you about this, and we're supposed to go see Worth. I think it's next week they have their meeting, the 19th? Yes. So next week we'll be going to see them too. So basically, I'm just throwing this open to you, for your input. There's no guidelines at the moment. There's a lot of different formats this could take. It could be quarterly or biannual meetings that are rotated through the 3 town councils each year. It could be a special District 3 meeting that's hosted once a year by each of the town councils, like maybe one in May and September and in January out of each area to get ourselves to know more about what's going on. Or it could be a formal formation of a D3 MAC council comprised of 1 or 2 council members from each place that meets and then comes back and gives input. We're totally open to the whole thing. If this is successful down the road, we could transcend this into a countywide, group with the MACs, and then we would have a lot more power in terms of, being able to deal with issues that impact us and more problem solving, availability, et cetera. Anyway, so I'm asking you what you think.
Well, I think it sounds like a great idea.
Okay. I mean, so is this something that you would like to go further with? Maybe a couple of, maybe 1 or 2 of you off the council could meet with a couple of us, and when we present this to Worth, I did already speak with Thomas, and he's very, very much interested in this whole concept too. But then we could just have some sort of brainstorming session of how it would work.
Yeah, I think we could probably just informally maybe meet
Okay.
a couple of us, and then we could put it on the agenda for next month to create a subcommittee or something like that.
Yeah, anything. It doesn't even have to be formal. I mean, go in and speak about it. I'll give you my sheet here that I have on all of this, so.
Yeah. I love the idea. I think that you can never have too many friends, especially with the kind of stuff that we deal with. My only thing would just be to caution against something super formal.
Yeah.
The Brown Act itself can make anything a nightmare. So I think some sort of informal group would be really, really good, even if, like Becky said, it was, you know, 1 or 2 people kind of work with you guys. I'm super into the idea.
Okay, yeah, one of the things that I am interested in is really developing the North Shore into a recreational destination and an environmental and outdoor destination. You may be aware, are you aware we have Klaus Park that's going to be opening up pretty quickly? It's a 600-acre park right next to the Moose Lodge at the Rotary. And, you know, as you know, on Highway 20, there's in the summer, about 25,000 cars that go by, you know, along Highway 20. And it used to be the county thought, when they had the visitor center here in Lucerne, they thought that all of the tourists were coming from Sacramento because that's who stopped into the visitor center. So they focused a lot of effort there. Well, the fact of the matter is that these people were going from hot climate to cold climate. So they were driving through to go over to the coast, and they weren't staying here. And so one of the things we would like to do with Klaus Park is make it something for, as visitors come through and they're driving along there, they can stop, they can rest, and they can learn about Lake County. We can talk about health of the lake. We can talk about lake access. You know, obviously Lucerne has designated themselves the gateway to the monument. So here in the middle, you would have Lucerne right there in the middle of the lake. We have a paper subdivision management plan where originally we wanted to have trails built that would go from down to the lake all the way up to the hills. Maybe we could get that going. And then on the other end, we have the western entrance to Lake County, which is Upper Lake. And we could tout Middle Creek restoration, bird watching, the kayaking, the launches, you know, the trails, et cetera. And, you know, hopefully get something going with Lake Pillsbury if they do remove, you know, the dam and just get recreation up there. But really focus on that for the North Shore and keep our environment, you know, beautiful. Anyway.
All right.
Any questions? No? Okay. So we'll be in touch then.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 5, discussion and possible action regarding Alpine Park swim area cleanup. I know Dan here. Do you have any ideas on that? I know you wanted it on the agenda, so I don't know if you have any particular dates or if you wanted to organize something or wanted us to have a date to do something like that.
Well, I'm wondering if we could find out who's in charge of the park, the swimming area in the park, and also on the far side of town, the beach area on the far side of town, and invite them here to explain why these areas can't be cleaned up.
Okay.
Beach area being, Davis Rest Area. I think it's technically called by a sign, but it's a park, I believe. Davis Rest Area, I think, is the beach area's name. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm familiar. Thank you. I think that's Parks and Rec, right?
Yeah.
Davis and Alpine Swim Area. Okay.
Okay, we'll try and get in contact with somebody and have them come to our next meeting.
I wanted to add something back to the Supermac thing, because I think they're
Okay.
gonna have to head out soon, just real quick. Well, I call it a Supermac because a couple years back, when we were reforming to surf, I was speaking with the supervisor, a colleague of mine in another county, and he said that he had so many municipal advisory committees, he put together what was called a Supermac, which was, he had like 7 of them. So he had 2 from each, and they met like once or twice a year. They came together. It was Brown Act compliant, but it was once or twice a year. And they just basically brought forward the most similar and the most ideal, concerns that they would champion together. So I can I'll reach out to my colleague and get some more of that information. So and for your meeting and for yours for next month too. So that way you can see what that looks like.
Okay. Did you say you had to head out soon?
No, I think they might have
Oh,
to, so I wanted to say it while they're here, because we did have that discussion, so.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, and then item number 6, discussion and possible action regarding the shoreline cleanup. I don't know when that was done last. Do you know, Dan?
No, I don't, but, once again, I was hoping.
Oh, Dan, can you come up here, please?
Once again, I was hoping that we could find out who's in charge of the Davis rest area. I don't know if it's the same person that's in charge of the park, but it's just like the process we went through getting the harbor dredged, you know, finding out who's in charge, finding out why it's not cleaned up, finding out if it can be cleaned up, and really asking why they even build these facilities if they're not willing to maintain them.
Okay,
Public Services. Was Lars here last month when?
Yes.
yes.
Did he answer that?
He was here for the dredging report, and I think he kind of led with that, and then he had to go pretty quickly. It would be the same person, Lars. Public Services oversees Parks and Rec. However, if you're talking sort of natural occurring stuff on the beach of Davis Beach, like the trees and stumps and all that stuff, that actually individually gets reported to Water Resources, and then they have a separate grant system where they have to, like, you know, truck it up the beach and away. But I believe Water Resources also did do the official beach cleanup day that affected Davis Beach. May have been a number of years ago now, 4 or 5. At the time, I was extra help at Water Resources, and I actually worked that beach specifically, and it may be that we just have to ask them, Water Resources that is, if we can have another specific beach cleanup day there. However, for your question, as far as like Parks and Rec workers, asking them to go to specific parks and find out what the process is for that, that would be Water Resources. So there are 2 different departments that we'll be in contact with to see about getting Davis Beach cleaned up and then, I guess, kind of maintained, if that's your overall concern with Davis Beach.
So you're asking me specifically?
Yes, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well,
There you go. I can see it on the keep walking, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, once again, we have the swimming area at Alpine Park, and it was built several years ago, and tules and brush have taken over, so it's not usable. So I don't understand what's the point of building these things if they don't continue to keep them usable. All the debris that's washed up at the Davis Rest area has come across the lake from Lakeport or wherever, and it's actually dangerous, especially if any of it goes back out into the lake. A boat could hit it, a skier could hit it. So having that debris there is actually a hazard.
I agree, actually. Yeah, as far as things that could create hazards into the lake go, I do know that Water Resources, for like if you see something bobbing along the lake, you could call Water Resources, and just the same as something reaching shore, it's still their jurisdiction. However, yeah, like I said, I think that gets to the overall root of your concern for Davis Park. However, I think what you're mentioning about I haven't seen it for a little while, but the Alpine swimming area, if I had to guess, it was probably done with redevelopment agency funds to create the swimming area, which was a one-time thing. And then on top of that, I'm just presuming here, if it's tules particularly that are regrowing, re-vegging that area, that's something that, for better or worse, is happening to help the natural water filtration of shoreline areas. And I think that ends up sort of, at times, depending on the area we're talking about, becoming this kind of a catch-22. EJ, you could touch on that specific, the tules, yeah.
Tomorrow there is is this on? Can you
Yeah.
hear me? Yeah, tomorrow there's a presentation by the Tribal Eco Restoration Alliance, who's contracted with Water Resources. And that's part of what they do is the tules. And so I'm pretty sure it says, it's actually about their facility tomorrow, but they bring up partnerships. So this could be something to bring. I know that they're working on other projects with them, and when it comes to the lake, they did a Clear Lake Oaks spot where they were working on the
Clark's Island.
Yeah, they were working on that. So now they're a little more established. Now they're getting a area where they have a training facility. And that also is a good place for them to do that work too when it comes to the cleanup of a shoreline. So tomorrow when they have that presentation, I think it's at like 10 or something like that, or 11. I'll look it up real quick. But yeah, that's a good time we can ask them. And I know Water Resources would have to contract that to them basically. Because there's like a lot of projects they're doing, but at the same time, Lars is in charge of the parks. So it's like one of those deals, like just like the harbor where Lars was in charge of it, but then, yeah, so.
Cool. You get something on that tomorrow then.
Okay. Well, we'll see if we can invite some people to come speak next month. Oh. Hello. Hey, Lori. Can you come up to the mic and introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Lori Crandall, and I just happened to notice, because I'm down there every morning really, really early. So I know that at 6:30, normally there is somebody there to clean up the parks. Is that a separate truck or something, or is that a separate deal?
I do see the park workers when I'm walking also.
Yeah, that's what, because I usually do the exercise, so
But
that's,
I only see them like address the bathroom and the trash cans and some of the,
Yeah,
landscaping.
that's what I
type
see
of
them do
work.
too. I'm wondering if we could ask them to extend, or is that something that we could ask them to do to help with some of that as well? I was just asking, because I just happened to see them, so, just a thought.
All right, well, thank you.
Park
No, that's a
maintenance
good
manager.
observation. Okay.
So,
Anybody else have anything?
We got one over here.
Can you come up to the, or we can bring the microphone to you, Darnell? No, neither. It's like this.
Darnell Walton, resident here in Lucerne. Inasmuch as we're talking about shorelines and cleanups and stuff, and the Tules, it's always has been presented and up and down about fish and so forth. A couple years back when the lake was really down and all the old tires that were now visible, I asked, would this not be a nice time to get those out of the water? And was told, no, we can't do that because that's fish habitat.
Yes.
And yet, 6-8 months down the road, there were stacks of tires. I think someone just went out and did it on their own. This whole idea, and I'm not against it in the least for the health of the lake, but I noticed over the last several months, maybe 4 at least, maybe up 6, the first Rivieras, as you kind of hit the 2 spots on the first Riviera, we'll call it that end, the south end, east end, all kinds of willow trees have been cut.
Yeah, I'm not sure who was behind the project, but I was kind of shocked to come out and there was kind of like a hauling company. There was 2 mini excavators out there, and they were loading some, I don't know whether it was stuff that had come up from, washed ashore from the lake, or if they were just simply cutting stuff down and then hauling it away. And it didn't seem like they were there, and cleaned up everything. So I don't know if they didn't have permission from Caltrans to be over there. I thought maybe perhaps Caltrans could have done it for the pullout over there, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah, possibly the pullout, but again, so what I'm bringing this up is here we have one of these mysteries of, do you go through the channels and maybe something happens, or people just take it upon themselves to go do it, and the old saying, go ahead and do it and worry about whether someone comes after you later. You've already done your thing. And it's an eyesore. I don't know if those trees will recover. It's partial way of keeping the shoreline. And it was a real butcher job, and there was a bunch of stuff there for some time, but it seemed like a hit and run situation. So I have my doubts that it was authorized. But here again, who's going to say what about anything? And while I'm up here, the whole thing about the parks and the North Shore and that, again, I've been here since 1950, one way or another. And everything you talk about, I agree with here with regards to a North Shore people getting together. We're talking 50, 70 years of the same thing. None of the things that were brought up are anywhere near new. We have had a structure in place, Board of Supervisors et al., the governance of the county. And we're still talking about the same problems that still don't get addressed, and we're going to be looking into them somewhere down the road again. It's time that those in authority who have spent tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars to study the same problems, usually by outside enterprises, experts, and then they are paid and handed over their findings. No one, excuse the thing, pulls the trigger on that. And then another 5, 10, 15 years down the road, we do the same thing again for more money, and no one pulls the trigger to act on it. It is a total waste, and it's a fantasy. It's a fantasy. I'll be real frank here. It would be nice if it were the people that are in the room, and it's good to see as many people here for a change. But if it becomes 2 people from the 3 boards, it's just another layer to get through, to get to the information, to the people whose job and responsibility it has been for decades in this county. Action is what we need to see. The words have to be followed with action, or they're just words. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions or comments for item number 6? All right, moving on to item number 7, discussion and possible action, including acceptance of an update on the Foothill Bridge. That would be you.
Yes, I just talked to Glenn today. It is on the capital improvement plan, and what that means is it's getting the funding accrued for it when it comes to writing grants. They have a grant that they're writing for right now, and that's what they're going to have to put under the capital improvement plan. They finally put together one. We used to have a capital improvement plan for each department. Now it's a collaborative capital improvement plan, and that is one of the main projects that is on that list that's going to be taken care of. He's doing a presentation tomorrow also on the roads. That's going to be at 9:30. I posted it on the Facebook page, but because I took him around, I did the road drive around I told you guys about last month or the month before. I did another one with him just this last week, and I showed him that because I was showing him all the roads that I'd like to see, like a wish list. And I showed him that, and I also told him about the situation where when you have to go up the Foothill and Robinson Road, you have to go all the way around. If someone's life is depending on it, that's going to be a real hazard. So capital improvement plan, and that needs to be, it has to be one of the first things. And so with that, that's where he gave me the information of where it's at for now. Yeah.
We have no ability, like no other funds available or anything that can be done, just because it's been so long that bridge has been out of service. And like I told you, you know, I was responding to a fire and didn't know exactly where it was, and drove up obviously towards the bridge that was out, and then had to drive back around and go up Robin Hood in order to get to the fire. And had it been worse or a different time of year or weather conditions, you know, that was like a 3-minute delay.
No, and that's exactly why I took him to it, because there's a couple other things that I had to take him to, but they're not as dire as that. So the capital improvement plan that he has in place is where that's one of the most important. But again, tomorrow, I'm gonna bring it up again with him and say, hey, can we get the priority list? And so that you all could see it, rather than asking and then I give you this information and then it's back to
And
that,
where's
yeah.
this presentation gonna be located?
At the Board of Supervisors, yeah, and you can attend via Zoom as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, he's doing the road improvement plan for 2025. One of the things that, I'll just go over it now and while I'm up here, is the projects that are gonna happen. And one of the main ones is Rodman Slough. That's one of the things he showed me, and it's online, so I can tell you, it's not like a deal. I kinda knew some of this, but I couldn't just come here and be like, hey, they're gonna do. That one is planned for 2025 on the way out. As you know, the patchwork is, a lot of people complain about that. That is on the list to happen for this year. He'll be presenting it tomorrow, so if you either come in person or on Zoom, this presentation will happen then. And it's also a place where the bridge, I'm pretty sure we could bring that up because it's part of that. It's part of his department. It's part of his, whole presentation anyhow.
But are you saying we had to wait for a grant in
No,
order
well,
to
no,
get this
what it is with the capital improvement
accomplished?
plan is, once it's in place, whatever funding we have, we can appropriate it towards it. That's why they had to put that together. Because before, each time we had a new director, they would do a new capital improvement plan, and each department would have their own capital improvement plan. So like if Water Resources had theirs, Public Works had theirs, Public Services had theirs, then someone leaves, they're starting over a new capital improvement plan. Now there's one just full collaborative capital improvement plan.
Okay.
And that was presented, I think I updated you all, I think in November that was taking place. There was a consultant to help them with that, and that was the whole purpose, so that we can always have something in case we get a new director. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Supervisor Crandall?
Leah Robbins. One of the things that we have family that live up on the hill, so they have to come down Robinson, and since they can't take Foothill, they have to go around.
Step a little closer to the microphone.
When they have to go around the street and come down Robin Hood, they can't see. And it's very difficult. They're just praying that they don't get in an accident, because when they make that right turn, they just can't see the cars coming up the hill, because they're trying to go down. So just something to add to, that is, it's a safety concern there. And like I said, we have family that lives up there, so we're really concerned about them coming down the hill and not being able to see.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions or comments about the bridge? All right. Item number 8, discussion and possible action regarding universal trash pickup. So I know Darnell's been a big driver of wanting to have this done, and as well as other people in the community. But I don't know if you have any suggestions on how we can push for this.
So I know we talked about it when Lars was here, I think, last time, right? And he, for some reason, every time when I used to be on the solid waste task force, there's always pushback for it, and I'm not, it's still something that I don't understand why we can't. I know other municipalities do it. I know that when Jim Steele was on the Board of Supervisors, he talked about it as well and created this garbage ordinance, which is intact now, but it's not necessarily being fined the appropriate way. And so now that they have data ticket and OpenGov, if you're familiar with the new system they have in place, it's called OpenGov. And so planning projects, building submittals, code enforcement complaints, all are going to be more centralized. And so, like currently right now, when we make a complaint, if you make a complaint, and then I say, I'll make the same complaint, I have to get your number and turn it in, and then we have to wait and see if they even get it. Now, apparently, the property is going to have that actual link to it. Back to when it comes to garbage, the data ticket that they have that's supposed to fine whoever has the violation, that is ideally how the garbage ordinance should work. As of right now, universal garbage, every time it's brought up, we just get a lot of pushback for it. So I mean, I don't mind championing it for you. I don't mind. I just know that will definitely get pushback. Lars even said it in here. He's like, he kept shaking his head no. So
Are there any other supervisors that are dealing with I mean, they're probably dealing with some of the same issues, but
not as much as we are here. But, so, because what it happens is it becomes an unincorporated issue. So that's where.
Correct.
That's where the vote would have to take place and all of that, and that's where it gets difficult. So and every time that I've talked about it before, even with Jim, it's been like, it's gonna be a difficult one, but it's something that needs to get done because, people they'll have to vote on it. Here's the other problem is, back in the 70s and 80s, this is another thing I looked into. Back in the 70s and 80s, for some reason, the county opted out of keeping the garbage bill on the tax. You know how your sewer bill, when you get charged for your sewer, if you don't pay it, it goes to your tax bill? For whatever reason, the 70s and 80s, the county opted out of that. So now, to get back, that's what I was trying, that was my next move, was like, hey, let's try and see if we can get it on everybody's tax bill if they don't, for garbage. That way they don't even have to pay for it, it's there. And that's what I was told by county council is, well, we opted out of that, so the process is a very difficult one to get back into because of that. So here we are with the garbage ordinance is where we need to go from there is, universal garbage, which, so, I mean, if that's what we want to champion, we can. I'm just letting you know that's going to be a challenging one. And then, so that's why we've been doing things like the roadmap task force, code enforcement, the copter program, things like that to address it. I know right now they have the Cal Recycle grant. Dump days starting in Nice. The 22nd of March, there's going to be one, and the 29th, and then in April is Lucerne. And these are outside the ones that we were doing before, so they're going to be targeting Lucerne in April, and then Clear Lake Oaks thereafter. So those are all still, like, they're not solving the problem, but those are just the things that are happening for now because of all the dumping. But, that's one of the continuous conversations we have in Upper Lake here, and then also I know they've talked about it over in Clear Lake Oaks as well, universal garbage.
well, maybe that's something if we get together with the other town halls that we could, kind of come together and push for something like that.
I've crafted like a draft ordinance, of course. I've been able to do that, so it's just like what I did with the rent stabilization. I've crafted something, and so I usually give that to county council. And so with this one, we can start from that if you'd like, and I can get you guys what I have so far, and we can go from there.
Okay, that sounds good. I think, it's something that's needed on the whole North Shore.
And it's not that, I don't want to do it. I want to do it. I don't mind bringing it, and if it loses, it loses, and if it wins, it wins. I'm fine with that. There's been a couple other things that I didn't think were going to pass, and I just motioned it, and it ended up happening, or it didn't, and it ended up dying, or whatever. I don't mind doing it. I just want to make sure that, the challenge is ahead and whatnot, so, yeah.
Okay.
Question, EJ. So say the board doesn't buy into it, is it something that can be brought forward via like community ballot measure? Like if the people go out and get the signatures, say the board shuts it down, but then the people go out and propose something?
What did you say? I would think I think that if there was something like that, it would probably have to be a voting measure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like if there was a voting measure instead that was brought as a campaign.
That's what I was thinking, because I've seen it a lot of times over in Mendocino County, where whenever it's a voting measure that is brought forward by the people, sometimes you get a better response than if it were brought forward by the board.
Right.
So I don't know if there's enough people, who are agreeing with that idea, but it is a concept that, if the board doesn't want to go that direction, there's an avenue for people.
Right, this one, it's not just one issue in it's in each town hall. It's been a continuous discussion. So for me, it's not outside something that I wouldn't mind bringing,
We have a question on Zoom.
Yes.
Angela, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Thank you. Supervisor Crandall, can you clarify regarding universal garbage pickup in unincorporated areas? How would that work for areas that don't have any access to garbage service right now.
And that's where the draft ordinance would have to include that, and that's where the challenge comes with, I think, with basically with what public services or garbage collection or garbage department with Lars is having.
Okay, so there would be a potential that they would have to expand their service area to cover, like, you know where I'm at, so
Yeah,
that'll
double
be
eagle.
you know, people would be interested to know, are they gonna come all the way out to the eastern part of the county into the hills?
And
But
that's
I'd be
what-
interested to know. Thank you.
And that's where when we bring it to the board, that's where that discussion would happen. How are we going to address those areas as well? So, and then you have also, I mean, here's the other side of things. This is where I've gotten other pushback when I talked about it with other folks. The folks that live here half-time, you know, they're not going to want to do that because they're not here enough. They take their garbage with them or whatever the case may be. I'm not defending that, so don't eat me up here. I'm just saying that's the pushback that I've got as well. So if there's a vote, you know, I don't know how they'll look. But again, we can bring something like this. It's not an issue for me to bring it.
Do the vote on the half of the year that they're not in town.
Well, they still have to pay their sewer bills and water bills, so.
Right. It's too bad we
know.
can't just add it to the garbage just like they did in the 70s and whatnot in other places.
It sounds to me like it may be worth taking on this matter as something to study with a short time limit as the large MAC body, because obviously between the three town hall communities, many different populations exist. And as you said, the first thing I thought of was Airbnb owners or vacation home owners or people that honestly maybe already aren't paying their taxes on their parcel or on their residence. And those units, albeit it does make some sense that they are still paying within their tax burden for, theoretically anyways, their water and sewer, because those systems are actually running via pipes and all of that 24/7, but the trash service via tax would mean that some of those homes that do not put trash into cans. Oh.
There you go.
Better? Okay. So yeah, different communities will have different populations within their residences, and I think that could help possibly steer the would-be structure of a potentially universal trash pickup, law as we would look at it. But yeah, maybe something we could look at the large back scale first and then help along.
I don't know if you all remember, but back in, I think in 2019, 2020, before COVID took place, Gene Polino had a meeting at the castle and invited all of the town councils to come and discuss. He was working on something he brought. But I know he was really frustrated with the Dollar General situation, if you remember. And so I think he was trying to put something together to fight Dollar General in all of or box stores or something like that. I don't even know if that's what it was, but I just know Gene was a proponent of that. But we were able to have that collaborative meeting. There was also another meeting they had here for the transit. You remember when they had a meeting where, it was before I was a supervisor, 2018, and they all came here and had a presentation on the road plan or, you know, the safety plan or something like that.
Traffic calming.
Yeah, and so all of the town councils were able to come and do that. Maybe instead of waiting for the SuperMac until that, we can just have a special meeting at one of the spots and then just solely talk about and prepare what we have for universal garbage. That way we're not waiting, because I hear what Darnell's saying, like we can talk and talk and talk, but then it sits, and then, you know, we can do that. I don't mind, you know, so if you want to have a special meeting or something like that and collaborate.
Okay, we had another question on Zoom. Angela, do you want to ask your question?
Oh, no, I lowered my hand. Thank you. I was just going to point out, I think the city of Clear Lake has a mandatory garbage ordinance that you might want to look at. And I think there's a waiver for if you have a vacation rental, you can get it signed off by the city where you can just do a one-day garbage pickup where you set your garbage bag outside or you take it with you. But I think the city of Clear Lake has an ordinance that you might want to look at.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest that, several years ago, City of Clear Lake did implement this policy, but they also have Citizens Caring for Clear Lake, and they're a task force that assists with dumping grounds or litter pickup throughout the community. So it may be of interest for you guys to invite them to discuss how their project started and what they did to support that mandatory trash pickup. So it's been very successful for them in Clear Lake.
Thank you.
And I think she came before. She was doing the Sulphur Bank. They still do the Sulphur Bank Road, which is also another reason why the Cal Recycle grant. So it was Worth who put together, like, they had a committee of folks that put together a map of all the dump piles on Pile Road. And then, of course, Robinson Road was having issues. Mountain View, Stubbs, Sulphur Bank Road and whatnot. And then there's another spot, I don't know the name of the road, but it's by the turnabout when you go towards Clear Lake. Right. Yeah, so that's the other spot too. So that's why the Cal Recycle grant was implemented as well. So it's gonna be not only the dump days, but they're also gonna be like education. They wanted to continue this. They wanted to keep it moving, like a continuous deal where, with dump days. Because I know there's a lot of folks that are like, it's not right because then other people can just dump. Well, they're doing it anyhow, and you know. Another thing about CC4C is they're the brainchild of the dump days that happened in Clear Lake, and that's how we emulated ours with the Castle and CNS Waste. So the whole setup is the setup they do at Clear Lake, and I'm pretty sure that's the same setup that it's going to be at Manzanita and Nice. So, but Universal, I think it'd behoove us to have a special meeting, come together with an example from Clear Lake and some of the other things, and just punch it out and bring it forward.
Sounds good.
They actually set up trail cams to Citizens Caring for Clear Lake in high dump areas so that they can hopefully try to determine who it is that's doing it.
Well,
I've seen where Citizens Caring for Clear Lake has also set up trail cams in high dump areas so that they can determine who it is that's dumping it and hopefully, pay them a visit.
and on that dumping, Supervisor Crandall, there's a flock camera on Robinson that got run over and then the camera stolen. So it's just a bent over pole. So I don't know who's responsible and how we can get that put back up.
It's on the maintenance list that I have, that I received. So there's that one. There's another one in Nice, Pile Road, and Sulphur. So, did you want to come up?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thomas Aceves, Chairman for the Western Region Town Hall. The great topic. I've been on this bandwagon for a long time. Universal trash collection. It's needed. It should have been done 15 years ago when I came up here, because I understand we need to create this ordinance. Whatever we need to do, we need to get it done, because it's just a massive lot of trash in people's yards that they don't have these cans. And now it needs to be happening. So whatever we can do, is Holly here? Yeah. So I've been talking to Holly as well about trying to do, and she'll be at our meeting on March 19th. Please come. We need to get everybody to come to our meeting as well at Upper Lake. March 19th at 5:30 at the Tribal Hall. And please come to our meeting as well. I did send my agenda to a couple of you. If you can make it, or watch the YouTube PEG TV live stream. And so it's dearly to my heart, because it was influenced by Barbara Kreiswitz, and know her, and know Nicole Cook, and I work in Clear Lake. I've been working in Clear Lake for 16 years, City of Clear Lake, and done some really cool stuff over there. And one of them was the Universal Trash Collection, and of course they do have a non-for-profit. But one thing I want to push is adopting a road. I adopted the Nice Cutoff 7 years ago, and clean that up periodically. I just went through there today, and actually they dug out the culvert, so it's not as bad. But
adopt a road, everyone. You could do that through the county. You get bags, you get pickers, and Lori Price at Road Department will help you. Well, the Road Department will pick up the trash. It's just a matter of making sure that the road's available. I guess it has to have permitted road. But man, we got a lot of garbage on the North Shore, and I see it constantly. If you're walking around your house or walking to the park, pick up the trash. Take a bag with you and just pick it up. I forget the lady that's on the Lucerne here. Yeah, they're wonderful. These are really great people, heroes to picking up garbage constantly. In Lucerne, because of these people, you look pretty good. But let's get this universal trash collection, and if we do a meeting, let's do a meeting together to talk about how we can do it. I don't know who wants to lead this, but let's get it done. And Supervisor Crandall, we need to get it going, because I know it may be some obstacles in the way. I heard Lars at one of our meetings a few years ago. He works for us. He's going to do what we need him to do, and he needs to.
He does, but I need 2 votes.
2 votes out of your. Yeah, we'll get it done. We'll get it done. We know those people. We'll lobby them. Right? Who wants to get it done?
Yes. Thank you.
Well, all I wanted to say is you now know that we have Surf, Worth, and Earth all interested in the same thing. So if you could forward all of us the, the ordinance that you have there, then we can all take a look at it and get going on it.
Sounds good. Yes. Yes. Can somebody bring Darnell the microphone, please?
Got it. Yeah, I got it.
We should just stick that thing on.
I had a question. You talked about the 70s or so. Was it, who voted it down or out? The governance, or was this a ballot initiative?
It was a governance back in the 70s, 80s time frame.
Yeah. Well, that's 50 years ago.
And yes, and as funny as it is, I understand, and that was my thing too. The issue is that the way the law writes, and I can even just get this to you all too, so I can have a reference point rather than just saying it. The way the law writes is you cannot come out of it because of the way that it was done. So that was my thing, is let's put it on the tax record, let's do it like we do the sewer, and move from there. And Lars was even one of the others that gave me that information. I brought it to county council, he said the same thing. Let me get that for you so we can understand. Maybe there's another way to legally deal with that, because then we can avoid having to go through the struggle of an ordinance and then we just put it on the tax bill. But again, it has to do with the specific law. I need to have that for a reference for you all to be able to look at, so.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'll wait so that I don't have to. Although I need the steps.
Anyone else have any comments or questions? All right, then we're on item number 9, discussion and possible action, including acceptance of an update from Supervisor Crandall.
Let's see. Thomas, were you here when I talked about the roads presentation tomorrow? Roads presentation tomorrow at 9:30 by Public Works Director. And I remember you brought up Rodman Slough, the patch job. That's going to be addressed tomorrow. He's looking at doing that this year. So just letting you know, tomorrow it's going to be on the presentation for sure.
Can I make a comment?
Yes. I'll repeat it for you, so just say it. So you don't, unless you.
Okay, great. Yeah, my comment is the Durapatch is horrible over there. I'm not sure if they're going to continue that, if that's their plan. Let's hope it's not.
Are you talking, so he said the Durapatch is horrible over there. Let's hope they're not continuing that. Are you talking about the area like from like Century forward? You're talking about that?
Yes.
Yes, that's what they're addressing. They're not doing a patchwork job. They're going to actually
If
do.
they're going to do anything on these cutoff, it's so much traffic on that roadway.
Right.
If they're going to do anything, it has to be a resurface.
That's what was relayed to me, and that's what's supposed to be presented tomorrow.
One more comment. Sorry, this is important. If it's not, if they don't have the funding for resurface, don't fix that Durapatch and don't do anything, because chip seal down, it's off, you can't do it on that road.
Right.
That needs a full resurface, and I know it's extremely expensive, so hopefully you'll find out tomorrow that.
No, he said that it's not gonna be a patchwork, it's gonna be an actual, like you said, the project is gonna be done, with the actual pavement, not what they've already done. They're not just gonna repair it the way it is, they're gonna actually do the job.
That wasn't even a repair, it's worse than
Right,
it was from,
I know.
to
but-
begin with.
But that, if you're not gonna be there, I took a note of that, I will say it tomorrow to make sure. Like, don't even do it, or, oh, I know, I should just brought it. See, when I walk.
Thanks again. Is that Rodman Slough, this chip, whatever they're calling it, is that the only surface the county has road-wise that has been done on? No. I know this, and I've mentioned this for a number of years, and I'm seriously thinking about it again. We talked some about taking signatures. In my fantasy world, I would show up the Board of Supervisors tomorrow and hand them the bill to replace the shocks, my whole struts on my car. It's not just that and the tearing up of the tires on that strip of road. And we talked about the bridge and the health and fire department and stuff. There are, pity the poor fool who has to ride in an ambulance out of this town. And there's got an IV going or something, or a needle's going to be put in. It is not just a cosmetic thing. It is a safety thing. And if we want more people to come to this county, a destination as it was decades ago, it has to be a presentable place that someone wants to come to and spend any time. Thank you.
Yes, Dan.
Yeah, I just think about how the county complains about not having enough money to do things. And if they would quit wasting money on doing things the wrong way, maybe they would have enough money to do things the right way.
All right. Anybody else?
Turned into a roast.
No, go ahead.
I get started. Ours is later.
All right, well, again, I know the last time it was frustrating, and I actually apprised him of the presentation we got from Scott when he was the Public Works Director, and how we were on the list to be first, and then all of a sudden it became someone else, right? And then that. So, again, I'm bringing up the Rodman Slough because that's something I can share. I have been writing around with them so that I could show them a wish list per se, but I can't really, say, oh yeah, it's gonna get done, and I would not wanna do that and then it not get done, because then it would just be like the other situation. So, again, I'm continuously pushing it. I agree with you, no wasting money on a project that's just gonna be like what Thomas said and what you said, wasting it on that. So, when it comes to the roads, that's what I have for now on that plan. Kyle Recycle grant, I think I touched on that. That's the grant that's going to have dump days, the cleanups. We also have a couple of volunteers. So you mentioned some roads to be adopted. There's a group called the Crushers. They want to put together, as a nonprofit, they're trying to put together like a football team or something like that of Lake County. So they're going to be helping with some of this as well. So like whoever comes to volunteer, there's another group that wants to come and help so that people have, can help seniors. I know there was a situation we had when some folks couldn't get their garbage to the dump day. So there's a group that wants to do that. They also want to adopt roads, so that's, adopt a road, just like you said. So the more people we can get, if you know any nonprofits that want to come and help and fundraise and whatnot, encourage them to come to that. It's on the 22nd. There should be a flyer coming out either today or tomorrow for that. The 22nd and the 29th are these dump days, right next to the firehouse on Manzanita, both times. So let's see, we have the property sale is on the list tomorrow, on the agenda. It's not a timed item, but it's a non-timed item. And so, again, every year we have the defaulted property tax sale. So look at that if you're going to look into some properties and whatnot, or encourage people to do it. But either way, that's going through.
Do you know about how many properties are going to be on this tax sale? Roughly?
I want to say probably about 100, maybe more.
No, I think there's like 13 states.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's supposed to be 1,000 each year, so.
Yeah, June was, of last year was a big one.
There's supposed to be 1,000, I'm sorry. There's supposed to be 1,000 each year. That was the recommendation we gave each time, well, from the first time in 2019, we said every year we want to see 1,000 at least. I think it's down because some people have paid off, but yeah, it's probably in the 8s or 9s, but you're right, it's not 100. Let's see. I have I was thinking Caltrans would like to bring them. I know they're going to come to the North Shore Business Association next month in April, but I'd like to have them come and speak here because of the Lucerne Streets project. I know also we have the rapid flashing beacons, a brainchild of Kevin Wasik. But there's supposed to be more, of course, and I know that there's been issues in Clear Lake Oaks where they need one by the school. So I know that those are projects that are coming, but I'd like to get Manny Machado's, who I spoke with. I think, Thomas, you've spoke with someone from there as well, but to get him here to explain, that those potential projects coming forward. And I don't know if you guys are interested in the Potter Valley project per se. But that's just Scott Dam. If you want to know more about it, if anyone has a question about it, I can let you know about it. I know that we did a letter a couple of weeks back requesting from the governor and about the executive order that he put together for storing water, and then also having the new administration look into helping us through their measures for the executive order. And then, there's been a lot of media on it, and we still have our opportunity to put something out as well pretty soon. So that's what I have for now, and if I keep going on, it's just you guys can ask me. I'll wait here so we can have more questions. If you have more questions, I'll answer them.
All right, thank you. All right, item number 10, public comments. Citizen has up to 3 minutes to provide input on any item not appearing on the agenda. These items can often be further discussed on a future agenda if the C.R.T.H Council agrees to add it for a future item.
Was the Cal Grants team?
Yes, my name's Charlie Bean with the Lucerne Senior Center here, and I just wanted to give an update.
Can you come closer to the microphone? There you go.
Just wanted to give an update on what we're doing here. I have a list of lunch menus for the month, and on here also is all the activities listed for the week that we provide. There's 2 that aren't on here, which is a crafts class, which will be next Thursday if anybody's interested. And then they've just added a chair exercise class, but it's here on the menu if anybody wants one. And then also if anybody knows anybody who needs food, I have a list of all the places for the whole month, for the whole county, of where they pass out food to anybody. Yeah, if anybody wants a list of those.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm Jim Robbins, retired fire chief for North Shore, and I have a personal thing here I want to bring up. It's about the flood control. Had budgeted $2,000 a year to clean out Victoria Creek, which is a creek that runs behind the church here and down Victoria Street. And it hasn't been cleaned up in 8 years. And the gravel is picking up, and it's going to start flooding homes on Country Club. So I would like to get that put on the agenda, and I just talked to EJ about that, and we'll see if we can get that done. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Lori Crandall, and I just wanted to bring something to people's attention. Lately, I have been getting a lot of calls about elders that are being abused. Apparently, there are women or people that are approaching these elders in these times, and they are convincing them to either share their checkbooks or other personal things, like they'll have them sign things, or they're even taking advantage of them. They'll show up and drink with them or give them some type of attention that isn't appropriate in that type of setting. So I just wanted to put that alert out there that if you're dealing with elders and you're dealing with seniors and you find out, please contact EJ as well so that we can kind of put together a group. I'm working with other different nonprofits in the area, and we're just trying to put like a safety support. I know there's some people that do like calling and things like that, but we want to keep the elders safe. And I don't know if it's just this time of year or what, but I keep getting these calls. So I just want to be mindful of it. Just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you. Anyone else have any other public comments? All right, any announcements?
Hello, CR.T.H. Margot Kambara. I'm a General Plan Advisory Committee member representing District 4. As Supervisor Crandall mentioned, there is a Board of Supervisors meeting tomorrow. And on the agenda, in addition to the road improvements plan, is at 11 a.m., Community Development will have a presentation on Lake County 2050 General Plan update. So at this time, Community Development will be sharing recommendations from the General Plan Advisory Committee and the Local Area Plan Advisory Committees. So stay tuned for a better and brighter Lake County. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have any public comment or announcements? All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Appreciate it, and I like the big turnout. Meeting adjourned at 7:21 p.m.